Hello Capricorn, Elsie here to do your reading. It is a weekly reading. Thanks for showing up here, Cappies. I appreciate you. What are we talking about? Well, we're going to talk about Mercury retrograde for sure, because it's a long one. It's going to be here till the 23rd of July, and all of us are going through it, right? So let's find out what's going on for you. We're going to talk about what you're going to be reconsidering through this retrograde period, and whether whatever shows up for you deserves another chance. This could be relationship related for you, but please understand the retrograde is not only about relationships. It's bringing things from the bottom to the top and making you look at them again and reconsider them. It's just that it's in Cancer this time, so it's making you reconsider emotional things, and which could mean relationship for you, but please bring your own discernment to know what I am talking about. Let's find out what's going on for you, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Jupiter in this retrograde period. Tell me about Capricorn. What will you be reconsidering? We've got the Two of Swords. So you are at a crossroads already. We come into this reading with you being in a crossroads and not really knowing what to do. It feels like you're trying to tap into your intuition. I don't want to believe what I see. I want to make a decision based on what I feel. And so that could be the reason why it feels a little bit murky, like murky water, or confusing for you, Capricorn. You like things that are straightforward, right? The Magician keeps coming up and reminding everybody. I just did a reading for Virgo, and it showed up in Virgo's reading as well. The Magician is reminding you that you do have all the tools to create your own reality, right? We're all given the same tools. How we use them, or if we use them, or even if we wake up to them, is up to us. So I do feel like the Magician indicates that now you realize you have the tools, and so you can create your own reality, but it feels like you're at a crossroads. What exactly do I do with this newfound strength or energy that I have here? Because it does feel like it's something that you're realizing, that because it's almost like because you're backed into a corner and you're forced to make some sort of decision, an important decision, which is going to find you cutting out one path for another, that you needed some help. And I think the universe says, well, I gave you all the tools. You're at the beginning of the path, but I gave you all the tools. Use the tools that I gave you to create whatever it is that you want. So we have the Queen of Pentacles. It feels like whatever it is probably has some value, or you see the value in it. It could be a person, but it also could be a job. It could be a career path. This is time, effort, energy, money, your health. It could be something to do with any of those things. It feels like you've reached some sort of a crossroads where you know you have to make a decision, which means that you're going to have to leave one of those paths behind. I think that this Queen of Pentacles energy is telling me that if you decide to use your tools, all your skills, your resources, all the tools you've been given with all the aces of wands, all the aces in your hand is what I'm talking about. You can create anything that you want. It feels like you're creating something of value, or creating a different path. But it feels like the universe is like, look, you're the creationist. You're the one that's creating the reality. Do it. Create whatever you feel is of value to you. And I feel like whatever you create with the bunny here, it feels like whatever you create will multiply. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. We've got the Four of Pentacles. And we've got the Knight of Swords. Okay. So it feels like you're not a fan of abrupt change, I would say. And none of the earth signs are. And even some of the other signs don't really like quick change. I think you are a person who is not in favor of quick change. It almost feels like you're holding on to really tightly onto something that you see as a value, but also something that you don't want to change. It's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's what it feels like. But I also feel like this Knight of Pentacles is telling me that you've been on some really long journey. Now, when we start the journey, we start with a destination in mind. And as we are on the journey, because it takes so very long, years sometimes, 4, 5, 6 years, to complete the journey, that we can change our mind along the way as to what we want the outcome to be. And that's why the Knight of Pentacles is so important to see. It feels like here that there is something you see of value, but you're holding back from making a quick decision or a quick judgment on it because it doesn't seem like it was in the original plan. You didn't expect to see this on your journey, Capricorn. And now it feels like you're almost being forced by the universe to use these tools you never thought you'd have to get the handbook to know how to use the tools to be able to create whatever it is you're creating. Because you quite simply create stability, money, moving slow. You're the CEO, so you're creating things, you're organizing things. It feels like stability is already yours, but it feels like this decision-making process here is going to take you a really long time because you never do anything quickly. I feel like there might be some quick information that's showing up that might end up changing your mind possibly. But the Knight of Swords is, Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is in Cancer, and making you really feel overly emotional about whatever it is that you value, or could be something that you feel like you have to change as Cancer shows up. We're talking about him, right? It feels like you are feeling very deeply emotional because it feels like you feel as though life is already unfolding the way you want it to. But it feels like now you have to make a decision to let go of your plan and make a quick change. Gemini just is quick, right? Quick thinker, can think on their feet, just says it. And it feels like it's a bit of an aggressive change. And it feels like it's making you very overly emotional. Let's talk about the Magician. Tell me about the Magician, please. We've got the 10 of Pentacles. We've got the 2 of Wands, and we've got the Strength card. Okay, it feels like you have the courage to follow your plan. The 2 of Wands is here saying that I feel like you are feeling a little stuck because you already accounted for all the Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles is here, and we could be talking about abundance or property or money or something that is of great value to you, but we also could be talking about something that's long-term. So I think that these things are clarifying the Magician, because the Magician is now saying, okay, well, we do have to pivot a little bit. You're going to have to be courageous about it. And I feel like you're holding back at the 2 of Wands because your plan is the plan you want to follow. It's like you've already planned from July to December, and I've already calculated everything and what the outcome is going to be. And then the universe comes along and says, okay, well, this is actually a longer term decision than that. So you're going to have to learn how to use your tools, all the aces in your hand. You're going to have to learn how to use all your resources and all your tools and become really courageous. Or hold yourself back at the 2 of Wands, where you're going to be stuck for a while until you realize you have the tools. Because when the major arcanas come along, they say, look, this is what's happening. All you get to do is receive it. You get to practice receiving, and you can react to it, you can respond to it, but this thing is coming at you 100%. And whatever's meant for you will never pass you by. So it's just going to come back again until you are able to look it in the eye and recognize it. We've got the Emperor on the bottom of the deck. I feel like this is something here that is bothering you about taking charge of the situation. It feels like you have been betrayed before, or you have been hurt before in a situation. And I feel like that's why you like to control your schedule, control your path. It feels like you've always been in control because of this incident. And it feels like this incident was something you didn't expect. It was really painful. Maybe you lost something in the midst of it, lost money, lost balance, lost something that you valued a lot. And so I feel like ever since then, you're like, no, I'm the one that's in control. I'm making the decisions. But I feel like the universe is asking you to be a little more flexible than that, because we have the 10 of Pentacles, and not to worry about it. This is like giving me this, look, just give me your reciprocal energy and I'll take care of the rest. Don't worry about it. So it does feel like you're being asked to have strength, to have courage. If you're deciding that you are not going to use these tools that I've given you to make a decision that is really very important about something that you really value for the long term, then we're just going to sit here at the 2 of Wands until you're ready to make that decision. So we can sit here and you can be stuck, or you can use the tools I gave you and make the decision to go forward with whatever is of value to you. Tell me about the Two of Swords. We've got the Page of Cups. So this is the problem. It feels like you're a very planned person and you want to go with your plan, and something has shown up that has surprised you. It feels like there is some sort of place that you're at the crossroads here that you have to make a decision, which means you're going to have to cut out either your plan and go the other way, or you're going to have to keep your plan and cut out whatever is creating, whatever you could have created for your own self in the future. Tell me about the Page. The Emperor's back. Okay. Oh, very interesting. You know what's throwing you off the path here? I think for you, Capricorn, is that you are now considering a spouse or considering someone who I feel, yeah, that's the fly in the ointment is what it is. I had a plan to be independent with my money, to make my own independence, to be abundant, to move slowly, to create the things that I want to create financially, buy property. And now I'm no longer looking at this. If I give up my autonomy, I can no longer make these independent decisions about my path and my organization and my the way I wanted things to go, the way I had made the schedule, right? You have to veer away from the schedule. I don't think what you're not expecting here is that I feel like you're about to meet someone who I think is going to challenge your thought pattern, challenge your beliefs. Somebody here who's the yin to your yang. It's like we feel very complete when we're together, but we're also able to be very independent from one another. It feels like this sneaks up on you. And all of a sudden, boom, you have to make a decision. You're being asked to make a decision that you never thought you'd have to make. And I think, surprisingly, it feels like it shows up as a bit of a surprise. You didn't expect it, that you could be Capricorn, you could be the Empress if you're the feminine leaning energy, you could be the Emperor if you're the masculine leaning energy, but it feels like somebody is about to pursue you. So I feel like it's a bit of a shock. And now they're asking you, you're sort of at a crossroads where you're going to have to either take your path or take the path with the Emperor or the Empress. So you're going to go down a path with somebody, or you're going to do it by yourself. And I think that's a really hard decision, because that's why the Two of Swords is showing up here with the eyes covered, because I've got to really duck into my intuition and find out if this is really what I want. Tell me about the Queen of Pentacles. We've got the Knight of Cups. We've got the Page of Wands, and we've got the Seven of Cups. Of course we do. So I feel that you are having to reconsider the path for the rest of the year, the path for in perpetuity, going on forward into the rest of your life possibly. It feels like someone who shows up that you understand. They understand you. I think if you're the Empress, you've called them in. You've probably manifested them. But maybe it took so long with all these pentacles here. Maybe it took so long you thought it was never going to show up. So I think that the Knight of Cups tells me, oh gosh, my heart space caught me off guard. I didn't expect that someone was here to show me their emotions and offer me a cup. I was focused on building my wealth, building my house, building my abundance, building whatever it was that I was building. But now it seems like veering off the path might be a little bit of a exciting idea. It makes you very curious about what you want to do going forward, but also it's going to change your plan, and I don't know if you're in favor of it. We've got the Seven of Cups. This particular one is interesting because if you look the way it's laid out here, she's got two cups, right? Which is this here. She's got two cups, and then she looks up at the seven and saying, am I going to be in regret if I take somebody else's path or allow someone to talk me out of my plan? It feels like you're really not expecting this. You're really holding tight to this independent plan, which didn't include anyone else. It feels like you've been on this plan, on this path for so long by yourself that you never really considered that anyone else would show up and catch your emotional heart space, catch your attention. For the Knight of Pentacles, we have the High Priestess, we have the Six of Swords, and we have the Three of Wands. So adventure is here, asking you, what do you want to do to expand the future? The future can look pretty exciting, but you're going to have to take a step forward here. And is that, it feels almost like you go immediately up in your head. It feels a little bit chaotic. It feels like you're asking your intuition, and you're taking a long time to make a decision as to whether you actually want to give up some of your autonomy to someone else. And when I say give up your autonomy, I feel like now you have to consider someone else before you make your decisions. But for the longest time, maybe 4, 5, 6 years, you've been on your own and you've been making decisions, and maybe some of your plans are already in motion because the Six of Swords is here. Maybe some of your plans are already in motion, and now you're checking in with your intuition saying, what do I do? What do I do now? Do I go against my own plan because someone has showed up here that is on my vibration, somebody who is not ever going to have to be in my back pocket? I think the thing that really makes you feel good about this connection is that there are two people here who are very independent. And so you are not codependent on anybody. And the Emperor is never codependent on anybody. But it also feels like the Emperor is bringing a cup and saying, hey, we could make this work. You don't need me, I don't need you, but we could want something together. Tell me about the Four of Pentacles. We've got the Hierophant, Five of Swords, oh gosh. And the Nine of Swords in the reverse. At least the Nine of Swords is in the reverse for you, Capricorn. I feel like this person is proposing commitment, is what it is. And I really feel like you're like, wait a second. Wait a second. We have to talk about religion, kids, path. What are we doing? How are we split? Like, it feels like all of a sudden you have all of these decisions to make. You have to make sure that there are no fundamental differences before we head into some sort of a sturdy, solid commitment. It does feel like you hold back from this commitment because you have a lot of questions. I don't think you want to be worried about, I don't think you want to jump in and then be worried about all this stuff later. I think that you want to figure it out now, because this is like a chance of a lifetime. How often, y'all, I'm a reader that's been reading for a while. I think there's maybe about 3 times that I've ever pulled the Emperor and the Empress together like that. Come on, with the Page of Cups? Seriously, on the Two of Swords. Like, I don't even know if that's ever happened before. I've pulled the Emperor and Empress together, but never in that combination. That's unheard of. So look, we're going to go into the extended. If you want to be in the extended, I'm going to talk more about this. We're going to talk about this Knight of Swords, because I feel like somebody's expecting you to give an answer right away, and I don't think you want to, because you're more planned than that. Let's put down 3 cards here before we go into the extended and find out what's going on here. We'll talk more about all of this in detail. We've got the Lovers. We've got the Ten of Swords. There we go, and the Queen of Swords. I think that you're about to speak up and tell somebody the exact details of why you're worried about getting into a union with somebody, because Gemini, somebody here flip-flopped on you. You thought it was going to be okay, and they flipped it all over. It's like, I made a choice to be with this person, and then I never considered it could go one way or another. So I feel like the Ten of Swords is telling me that you were really betrayed or hurt. It was a very painful situation. And the Queen of Swords, that's how you became the Queen of Swords. When I have the Queen of Swords and the Empress on the table at the same time, that's the lesson that involved the Queen of Swords. That's the one that turned you into the Empress. This to me is the last and hardest queen to learn, because this is going to hurt people's feelings. It's going to cut people away. When you start having opinions and standing up for yourself, liberating yourself from situations and speaking in truth, everybody's going to back away except the few that are brave. So we're going to go into the extended. If you would like to be there, that's where we are going to be. We're going to talk more about how you are going to get a victory in this situation, and if you will at all, because it feels like there needs to be something that changes, transformation, or something must end. If you're interested in coming into the extended, then please go to the pinned comment. You will see there is a link there for the membership area, which is where I take all of these apart and give you a closer view of what's going on here, a more detailed view. Also, if you are already part of my membership or wanting to become part of the membership, please know that there is a private reading sale on. Your private reading sale is very different than the one that I'm offering everyone else on the external platform. So please go take a look at the community board and all the stuff that's going on there that is specifically for the members. If you're somebody who's interested in a private reading, there is a sale going on. It's 10% off. If you check the link to Hypsee, you will see all of the packages and prices which are available. So if you check that, you will see that there's 10% off. Look into the pinned comment. You'll see that there is Celebration 2026 there. That's to say Happy Independence Day, which is today. Happy Canada Day to all my Canadians. And thank you so much for all the ways you support me that way. I'm going to go for now. I'm going to go to the extended. We're going to talk all about this. Thank you for showing up here. And if you're coming into the extended, I'll see you there. And if not, I'll be back because I'm always back. Thanks, Capricorn. Bye-bye.